Daphne here to share with you another of my worldwide adventures that did my heart good, this time to the Pantanal in Brazil. Did you know the Pantanal is the world's largest tropical wetland covering more than 75,000 square miles? It is right smack in the middle of South America. Mostly in Brazil, it does spill over into Paraguay and Bolivia. Important to me in making this decision to travel to Brazil was the fact that this place, well known as the Pantanal, is the last place on planet Earth where anyone can see jaguars roaming free in their natural habitat, and that really appealed to me. The trip from the United States took me into the city of Sao Paulo. From there, we boarded a plane to Cuiabá City, and then onto this little plane that you see here, onto a runway somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. From here, there was transportation waiting to take us to the city of Port Jaffe, where we boarded a motorboat for the 40-minute ride up the Cuiabá River to Southwild's amazing flotel right there on the banks of the river. An amazing sight. Here we are arriving at the hotel. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but I was really amazed at how nice the accommodations were on the inside. Here's a picture of my room with a gorgeous big window that looked out over the river with lovely views, morning, noon, and night. After unpacking a little bit, we met for lunch, and then it was off in a motorboat for our first hunt for jaguars. Oh, I was so excited. I was just hoping and praying that we would see one. But you don't always see them, they tell us. You know, they can be elusive animals. But fortunately for me, I did get to see one, and that was my first sighting of a jaguar. Ah, what a thrill. I can't possibly even describe it. But anyway, there he is, and there I am in seventh heaven. Sorry for that little delay there, but I wanted to read this side note. Before leaving the flotel, the environmentalists there asked us to take pictures of any jaguar that we might spot along the way. The reason being is that they wanted to identify all the jaguars in the Pantanal. And the way they do that is by the pattern of their spots. So if you take a picture and they look at the spots, they can tell whether it's new or whether it's already been named. It was a pretty exciting thought to know that if you found one that hadn't shown up before, you could name it. But I'm here to tell you that unfortunately we did not find one, and that means there is no jaguar in the Pantanal named Daphne. Oh, here is another sighting, another beauty. Oh, gosh, these animals are just magnificent. Just magnificent. They love the water, too. We saw many of them swimming, and many just walking along the bank in the water, and some even, practically taking a nap in the water. Besides jaguars, there were a lot of other very interesting animals along the Cuiabá River. For instance, here we pulled off our boat onto the shore where this big old caiman was sunbathing. We know these creatures as alligators, but they're called caimans in Brazil. We loved seeing these big old guys, and we did spot them all over the place. Here's another picture. Look at those big teeth. Bet they don't have any trouble bringing in their prey. But we did see a video in the flotel of a jaguar leaping from the high branch of a tree and grabbing one of these caimans in the water and dragging it off for his afternoon meal. It was an amazing video. Everybody should see that. Okay, besides jaguar, there were lots of other interesting animals along the river. Here we have 2 giant sea otters. This picture I took in the morning as they were feasting on fish from the river, and these little guys never starve. There are plenty of fish there, according to the people that know those kind of things. Another big old otter was enjoying his morning snack up on a branch of a tree. Another interesting animal that we saw in the Pantanal was the ocelot. These are nocturnal animals, and we were very fortunate that Southwild set up a protective area where they would feel comfortable coming at night. And not every night did they come there, but fortunately on the night that we were there, we spotted this beautiful animal, and we sat mesmerized for a good 20-30 minutes as he roamed around, and it was just amazing, an amazing experience. Next we have another animal I'd never seen before. These are capybaras. They belong to the rat family, believe it or not, and they are the favorite meal of jaguars. These are not an endangered species. We saw them everywhere, so the jaguars have plenty to feast on if they can catch them. Here's another photo I took at the top of a riverbank of a couple of capybaras on a morning ride. And here's a whole family of them. I've always seen pictures of toucan birds, but I never have seen one in person. So I got my thrill in Brazil, seeing this big guy on the branch. And I love this picture. They're so colorful and very, very interesting birds, I think. All throughout Africa, there are termite mounds like this. They're much bigger in Africa, but I found there were many of them all over Brazil, which surprised me. But I had to photograph them because I found it so interesting that they were there as well. During my stay, there were these little birds feeding out of this trough at Southwild, one of the Southwild camps that we stayed at. Aren't these darling, these little red-headed beauties? I can't tell you how many beautiful birds we saw in the Pantanal. They were just amazing. This is an interesting picture. Returning from our jaguar hunt one night, our environmentalist had this bat land on her shirt. I am so glad that it was her and not me. If it had landed on me, I probably would have jumped out of the boat. But she seemed to be amused by the little guy and wasn't bothered at all with him stuck there on her shirt. She picked him up and let him fly away, and I was just hoping he wouldn't circle around and come back again. Another amazing part about the Pantanal, the beauty of the Pantanal, are the gorgeous sunsets. I don't know, I guess on vacation you get more of a chance to sit and make connections with Mother Nature, but I just love the beauty of just having nothing else to do for quite a long period of time except look at these sunsets. Absolutely exquisite. Here's another one. Oh, amazing. And this is a picture of the afternoon light as we arrive at our flotel. You can see the lights there on the right with the sun going down in the background. On another day, we spotted some more jaguars. Of course, every sighting was a thrill beyond thrilling. I mean, it was just amazing. I just love these animals. They didn't seem to be at all bothered by us being there. As a matter of fact, it looked to me like they could nod off at any moment. cooling off in the afternoon sun. On one of the days, it rained cats and dogs. Absolutely, I've never been in such an enormous downpour. But I was very fortunate. I had on my blue poncho, which covered up my camera. I would have been really crushed if my camera had gotten wet, but it didn't, and my poncho saved the day. Another interesting sight in the Pantanal were these white cows. Have you ever seen white cows before? I never had seen anything like that, so I snapped this picture to share with my friends and family. Okay, this was the last picture I took of a jaguar in the Pantanal. I was really sad. I was really sad when it was time to go. It was just the greatest trip. And I hope that all of you have a chance to go there someday. I promise you, it is one of the most underrated destinations for tourists anywhere in the world. It was amazing. So now that I leave you with this one last thought, and that is the only thing you'll ever regret is the trip you never took.